What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Monday Iron Radio. I'm Rafi. So what I'm doing here is just a part one of I don't know how many of the East Palestine, Ohio situation. I think it'll just be a two-parter. I started writing details about the timeline, and it was just a lot for one video. So instead of going in 5 different directions, I just want to focus on one thing: the CDC toxicological guidance documents for vinyl chloride. Basically, there was a tweet saying that the CDC changed the guidance 11 days before the accident, and as much as I distrust government agencies, especially now, I thought it was a little too good to be true, so I looked at the web pages with the Wayback Machine and also looked at 2 documents. One being the frequently asked questions from July 2006 for vinyl chloride, and then one document which is the draft for public comment from the CDC regarding vinyl chloride as well. And this was posted in January 2023, right before the accident. So I think the best way to go about this is to go down the comparable sections of the documents and then just see what's changed. Also, if you got stuff to do today or if you're low on battery, the audio version of this episode is on Spotify as well. But if you need to see some sort of visual, like when I pull the charts up and stuff, the Spotify will have the video uploaded with it, so you can always just kind of like pop back in and out when you need to. Here we go. So these are the 2 documents, both with lists of the frequently asked questions. So I'm just going to read down them and then go over the differences. So in the 2006 public health statement, what is vinyl chloride? What happens to vinyl chloride when it enters the environment? How might I be exposed to it? How can VC enter and leave my body? How can VC affect my health? How can it affect children? How can families reduce the risk of exposure to vinyl chloride? Is there a medical test to determine whether I have been exposed to vinyl chloride? What recommendations has the federal government made to protect human health? And where can I get more information? And then the current ones that you can go on the website and look at now. What is vinyl chloride? What happens to vinyl chloride in the environment? How can I be exposed to VC? How can it affect my health? Can it cause cancer? Can I get a medical test to check for vinyl chloride? And how can I protect myself and my family from vinyl chloride? So in terms of the questions themselves, the minor changes were really just revising. So like how VC can enter and leave the body, nothing really crazy. They just kind of merged that into how might I be exposed to VC? Main points being through the skin, eyes, and breathing as ways that you might be exposed, which makes total sense. And they also took out the where can I get more information FAQ. That's a minor change because since the new FAQs are a website now and not a 2006 document that's now a PDF, it has all the links and phone numbers, so that's not really a change. Now, there are some glaring, alarming differences. The biggest one, I think, being how can VC affect children? So the PDF from 2006, I'm just going to read this off, just bear with me. No studies are available that specifically address the effects of vinyl chloride in children. Studies of women who live near vinyl chloride manufacturing plants did not show that vinyl chloride produces birth defects. Studies using pregnant animals showed that breathing high levels of vinyl chloride can harm unborn baby animals. Animal studies that show that vinyl chloride can produce more miscarriages early in pregnancy and decrease the weight and delay skeletal development in fetuses. These same very high levels of vinyl chloride also caused harmful effects in the pregnant animals themselves. Inhalation studies with animals have suggested that vinyl chloride might affect growth and development. Animal studies also suggest that infants and young children might be more susceptible than adults to vinyl chloride-induced cancer. And then we go to the website in October 2022. It says, how can vinyl chloride affect children? It basically just summarized the paragraph that I just read. So that was like a slight revision between now and 2006. And so it just summarizes it, says, it has not been proven that vinyl chloride causes birth defects in humans, but studies in animals suggest that vinyl chloride might affect growth and development. Animal studies also suggest that infants and young children might be more susceptible to adults to vinyl chloride-induced cancer. And this was confirmed using the Wayback Machine archives web pages at a certain time when they're captured. The risk to children was still on the website in 2022. But if you look at the website today, there is no mention of the effects on children, curious to say the least. And if we look in between today and last October, specifically February 6th, the section about children is still there. This is 3 days after the accident happened on February 3rd. What is also still present on February 6th is has the federal government made recommendations to protect human health? And that section read, vinyl chloride is regulated in drinking water, food, and air. The EPA requires that the amount of vinyl chloride in drinking water not exceed 0.002 milligrams per liter of water. And OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, aka the fun police on job sites, has set a limit of 1 part vinyl chloride per 1 million parts of air in the workplace. The FDA regulates the vinyl chloride content in various plastics, and this includes plastics that carry liquids and plastics that contact food, and the limits for vinyl chloride content vary depending on the nature of the plastic and its use. So, 3 days after the accident, government regulations for VC amounts are still there, and the danger to children are fully visible. Today, none of those. There's nothing that says this is how much vinyl chloride is considered harmful in your air and water, and nothing that says VC exposure could potentially cause birth defects and stunt development of unborn children. And you can visit the site right now. It's not there, or at least before I was recording this, not there. Now, that is suspicious. There's no question about that. That's final. But just to cover my bases, I searched through the PDF of the new January 2023 public comment, because while it is a shit move to remove the danger to children and the safe levels of VC from an easily found source like the front page of a website, maybe they buried it and didn't outright delete it to cover their asses. Like, well, we didn't actually delete the information. It's available, so we didn't actually do anything wrong. So what I found was this in the document. Data suggests that fetuses, infants, and young children are susceptible to the toxic effects of vinyl chloride. Some epidemiologic studies suggest an association between fetal death and birth defects and parental vinyl chloride exposure. However, the design and analysis of these studies has been criticized. So they mention it in this giant, almost 300-page document, but not on the front page of the website. Weird. Now, in terms of acceptable levels of VC according to regulations, which was also removed from the front page, is mentioned in the 300-page draft doc, which is in Table 7.1, page 168. And there's a link in the description if you want to go read it for yourself. The old front page listed regulations for VC content in drinking water and air in the workplace. The amount of VC allowed in drinking water was 0.002 milligrams per liter, and that is still maintained by the new 2023 draft, with primary drinking water and bottled water amounts being the 0.002 milligrams per liter. In terms of OSHA, it used to say 1 part VC per 1 million parts of air, or 1 ppm, and that is also maintained by the new 2023 document. So, to address the claims that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, did the CDC change vinyl chloride guidelines 11 days before the accident? Kind of. So, the guidelines revisions were 100% finalized and published in January. However, this isn't something that anyone would easily find, and I've seen people confuse this for the website being changed before the accident, which is not the case. So I want to clear that up, kind of arm you with that information in case somebody's like, well, you didn't actually research it, so you're wrong. So your whole thing is just done. But however, the website itself was changed 3 days later. So just getting those straight. The guidelines were changed right before the accident, but the website changed 3 days after the accident. Which brings me to the next claim/question. Did the CDC change what is considered a harmful amount of VC and the risk to children to reduce the perception of danger because of the train derailment? Again, kind of. So they removed the risk to children completely and also removed the levels of VC currently allowed in drinking water in the air. They removed those from the front page. There's no question about that. But the regulations themselves still stand. No changes were actually made. But that still leaves the question. Why would they remove it after the accident if the recommendations didn't actually change? What reason would there be other than trying to cover for somebody? I can't say for sure. So all of this stinks, to say the least, and from what we've seen over the last couple of years, it's clear that the CDC and other government agencies have no problem outright lying to people and working to prevent open discussion. We're all just supposed to trust the science and not talk about it. So now that we have these two things straightened out, in my next video, I'm going to go over the full timeline of events and try to get a bigger view of what's going on here. All the documents and links that I use for this video are in the description, mainly in the order that I use them. I'll see you in the next video. I'm going to try to go ahead and film and edit that right now. This has been Monday Iron Radio. See ya.